All right, KISS Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a KISS-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 213 of the KissFAQ Podcast. It feels just like yesterday I was doing an episode with Andy. Oh shit, it was yesterday. So if you haven't had a chance to catch up with part 2 of my cruise recap, do check out that episode when you get a chance. Andy tells you all about the adventures with Vinnie Vincent in Miami and the gathering and the event at the hangar. And I think it was a pretty good one. Also, our friends at Kiss My Wax, or Kiss My Collectibles, as they are now known, their latest episode has a recap with my good friend Mike Wren, who it was a pleasure to meet him on the cruise. Excuse me, my speakerphone's still on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm in a meeting as well. So check out that episode, and there should be a podcast episode coming along very soon. I had a nice chat with Gary and Ken about the cruise, so if you're not sick of hearing my voice on this show, do check out that. Other news. From me, hardcover is now official. It's on Amazon, so it's slowly making its way into international distribution channels. Do wait. Do not use the third-party sellers who gouge you. The suggested retail price is much, much lower when it's the official copy purchased through Amazon and not these other people who also want to make money off it. What else? The solo album box. I got mine, and I'm thrilled. I bitch and moan a lot about Kiss merch, and they've done this one right. The covers on these LPs are absolutely insane. They're old-fashioned style construction, meaning that they're not foldovers. They're actually like 3D heavy-gauge cardboard with wraparound graphics and then a square stuck on the back. The colors look absolutely incredible. I wasn't too sure about the Ace one, with it being a little bit light blue, but it does look very good, and I'm very pleased. The Kiss Online bundle came with a custom t-shirt. Let's see if I can do this the right way around. Kiss. Yeah, there you go. So, just a solo album faces, but nice that they do on the inside. Limited edition. Nice. They tell you that it's anniversary of the solo albums, etc., etc. It comes with 4 buttons, which I have no interest in. I'm throwing those up on eBay. And 4 coasters, which I have no interest in. Those are going up on eBay. And it came with a turntable slip mat. I wanted the t-shirt, Ken. Don't laugh at me. It was only the t-shirt that I cared about. So that is very cool.
Typical Kiss fan. He'll do anything for one piece of merch.
Yep, I will. No shame whatsoever. But, again, with all I moan about, you really, if you're going to criticize stuff, you've always got to say when they're doing it right and when you think they've done a good job. And certainly this is the case. Other stuff that's going on. Excuse me, I'm still sick, and our air quality here is really in the dangerous zone today. So, photos from the cruise are up on willbyington.com. I think there's also a KISS Kruise photos for anyone who wants to be a voyeur and go look at everyone's photos. They didn't do photos with the band this year, but they did photos on stage. And you know what? I love this. I can't wait to put it up on my ego wall, just because they did a great job with the photos. It was a fun process, and I have enough photos of the band, so I don't give 2 shits about that. So again, very good job by the photographer, who knew how to use his equipment and did great photos. I've seen a lot of friends and theirs, and they're hilarious. Some great poses that I wish I had thought of as well. So that is kind of it on my stuff. Peter Criss made an appearance this past weekend in Fresno at Bentley's Drum Shop, for DW Day. And what was one of the really cool things, if you haven't seen it, is him giving a little tutorial to a young drummer, some pointers. It's all in the hands, kind of a Gene Krupa moment. And I love Peter Criss, and that is a really classy thing. Even better, I met that family in Las Vegas at the Vault, and they are a really, really awesome family. So it could not have happened to nicer people. Peter Criss, God bless you. Thank you so much for being the classy guy that you are. It's little moments like that which will leave an impression on fans and the younger generation for the rest of their life. I was actually going to go to that. I was going to drive to Fresno, but I was still sick, so couldn't do it. All right, Vinnie Vincent. the shows that were going to be happening 3 weeks tomorrow. Surprisingly, which with them saying that they were going to mail their tickets 3 weeks prior to the shows, so this means they're canceling at the very, 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 very last moments, have been postponed until February. Oh, and they've also moved the city from Memphis to Nashville. So thank you very much for costing me my hotel, which was non-refundable. Shame on me. My airfare, which is not refundable, but fortunately United will let me put it towards another event in Nashville. So hopefully I'll be invited back to the Rock and Pod Expo if there is one next year, because I'm sure as fuck not flying to Memphis February the 8th and 9th to see Vinnie when KISS is on tour in California. So
exactly.
I am not pleased about that, but what they're announcing is that he's going to have an all-star band, including Carmen Appice and Tony Franklin, who both were in Blue Murder. And that's why they need more time to rehearse. Well, if you saw the video of Vinnie holding a guitar on stage in Miami, then I don't know if he'll be ready in February.
Or next February, or February after.
Yeah, I and they still have Robert listed as special guest, but I don't. Does Robert even know? I'm pissed. I think they've just bungled this from day one. I've said it before. I was happy with the songs and stories. That's all I wanted. I could happily have Vinnie Vincent up on stage doing 90 minutes of what he did in Atlanta, noodling a little bit of riffs and singing along to a little bit of a song and then talking for 10 minutes about what that song was, where it came from, the guitar, the songwriting technique, all that sort of stuff. I would have loved it. I didn't need him to get out his electric whistle and whiz all over the place.
Don't say whistle.
I just thought that it was a mistake. It was just seemed to be typical Vinnie that it was first it's going to be one show acoustic, next it's going to be two shows, then it's going to be a little bit electric, then it's going to be full shred. It just seemed to grow unnecessarily. So all of you are disappointed because you were all going to this as well, right?
Well, I knew better, to be quite honest.
Wow.
Well, let's put it this way. I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen. I mean, what really made me nervous for you, Julian, especially, because I know you were going, was that when he went on stage there at the pre-cruise show there, that thing that he did, and after that performance, I knew that once all that talk started happening around the internet about how people were not satisfied with what he did on there, guaranteed he caught wind of all these comments on there, and I think that he felt a bit of extra pressure. I mean, I read on there saying that we needed more time and we needed to work out all these kind of things for the all-star band. Now they came up with 1,000 excuses why they had to move the date, but I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that now he knows that all eyes are on him more than before to deliver a tremendously shred-tastic show, and I think that he's just a bit nervous about it now, and I think that's why he might have moved. I could be wrong, but that's my first instinct when I heard that.
Well, do we know? I mean, how well it was selling?
Yeah, it wasn't selling well at all. I mean, you could count this. Well, Nibbler could count the seats on the dots if he wanted to, but I think it was 20% on the second day, 30 on the first, and that is not fact. I do not count dots. I leave that to. I've got people who do that, but apparently it had not sold well, and obviously the promotion has been piss poor. They haven't done any ad or commercial of Vinnie even showing the slightest ability to noodle. And he mentioned on the show yesterday that when he went into rehearsal, he went straight up, plugged in, and did a quick flurry that kind of blew his mind. But, I would have to hear that on tape to know if it's anything that really is indicative of Vinnie retaining the skills that he once had. But again, they just have mismanaged this whole thing, over-promising, under-promise. Keep it simple. over deliver. Let it be organic, and instead of just trying to make the masses happy, take the baby steps. Do a whole hour and a half on stage with an acoustic, maybe with Robert nearby, someone who might be comforting to him on stage. It's going to be a group of diehards anyway. Should have kept it at one night. Do a commercial of, maybe even of him on electric teasing, keep it like that. But he did some great poster designs for it. Was he selling prints of those signed for $100? No, wasn't doing anything. It was just radio silence, nothing but. So now we've kicked the can down the road to February. Well, I wish him luck. I won't be there, and I'm bummed that I will miss out on it if it happens. But you know what? I am not going to put Vinnie above KISS any day of the week. I'm going to Sacramento on the 9th. I believe, I think that one's Sacramento.
Nice.
And I'm keeping my options open for the other 2 nights immediately prior to that. So, disappointed, not angry. I hope Derek's fast with my refund on the ticket, so I do get some cash back. But you've burned a lot of people. You burned a lot of people in terms of their ability now to do New Jersey Expo. And yeah, that was obviously scheduled at the same time to freaking torpedo you. But there you go. Now there's going to be a lot of other fans who've had their money burned, and they're not going to be very fast to come running back. And if you think there's a lot of us out there, well, I just don't think that's the case. So I'm disappointed, but I'm disappointed for Vinnie. I just think he's screwing up this comeback big time, because he doesn't have anyone advising him properly. He doesn't have anyone who can keep him kind of from shooting himself in the foot repeatedly. So that's opinion. We'll see what happens. Wish him luck. All right, let's get on to another guitarist, Ace Frehley. And he's back to normal. He's done a run of shows in Florida. Anyone checked out any of the videos? He's kept Save Your Love in there. What do you think?
Yeah.
And Rockin' with the Boys is still, present, but now it's pretty much back to Love Gun's in there. Strange Ways is in there. Detroit Rock City's in there.
It's more of the same, right?
Disappointing. I had high hopes that with Ace's new band that they would take Ace to a different place where we hadn't seen before. And, I'm not saying that, Darklight is going to be in the set every night with this new band, but I had hopes that more rarities would be played. Because let's be honest, if you're going to go see Ace Frehley, you're a pretty hardcore KISS fan if you're going to go see Ace Frehley solo. You're not getting the casual fans in there for something like that. It's the hardcore, old school KISS fans that are going to that. They're going to know songs like Hard Times and Two Sides of the Coin and things like that. So to me, it's really disappointing that it didn't take long to kind of revert back to what we were doing before. So it's kind of a big letdown to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's actually the biggest surprise to me is that exactly what Lonnie said, that having the new band with them now, you would have thought that now there were much more options for different songs to be put into play. And the fact that there hasn't really been any major additions to the set list is really disappointing. I guess at the end of the day, Ace is the boss, so if he doesn't want to do them, he won't do them, right? So, but I think that they have the ability to bring these other songs, because these guys can learn stuff quickly and can play them decently. We've already seen that numerous times, not only with Gene, but with Ace when they pulled out some of these songs. No matter how poorly Ace might have done some of these songs when he played them, the backing band did them really good. So it's just a matter of him just brushing up a little bit on them, and they could be fantastic for his own set. So it's a little disappointing that he didn't continue, working on them and putting them into the set.
Well, it's early yet. Yeah, in my opinion, it's a little bit, it's early, and he's going to have to practice those other, deeper cuts anyway, in order to, play a pay-for concert, a real concert. So I'm thinking he might throw us a couple in, especially from his solo album, which he's going to be doing. So I'm thinking that at least to get one or two more songs from a solo album that he doesn't normally play. That is the first solo album, 78. And maybe something else, maybe by the time he gets, I know he's coming here again. I saw earlier in the week. I think it's in Sacramento area, Julian. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's going to play the casino again, I think. So maybe by that time, I think it's around late January or something like that. But anyway, I hope maybe by that time they'll be able to throw in a couple of other songs. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I was just on his website trying to quickly find out when that is, because I'll go. You know, the Gene Simmons Band guys are the guys who can take Ace to the next level or kill him trying. That's, Ace has not had the kind of discipline that's necessary for him to reclaim his throne in KISS. And maybe this is boot camp for Ace. And, right now that set is pretty, well, they kept Save Your Love and Rockin' with the Boys in it. So I'm going to give him 2 thumbs up for that. But Detroit Rock City, Love Gun, gotta go. Those songs, I mean, he doesn't even have anything from the Frehley's Comet album on there. Nothing. That's just wrong. What did Mark bring to show? But he looks great. I mean, damn.
He does look good.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll give him some more time, and if he comes to Northern California in January and it's not in conflict with Vancouver, I will happily go. Well, if Mom lets me, because I'm spending too much on concerts at the moment. This is really getting a little bit out of hand.
Bad.
So, okay, what's next? Oh yeah, I did just get a box score for the final Gene Simmons Band show. For those who love stats, reported audience 649 of 1,204 tickets. And that was at the Turning Stone Resort Casino. And that, of course, does hold a maximum of 5,000 with a $43,000 gross. So that's actually a pretty good gross. That's better than Ace does. So, not that much. So, yeah. There you go. All right, let's get into some of these recent Paul Stanley quotes. Because... the full court press is on now, isn't it, for the end of the road? These guys are popping up all over the place. I know they did the town hall. I still haven't listened to that. But I did see him on the Herald Sun Australian website. And he was, Paul Stanley slams the haters as rock icons KISS vow to go out on top. And I'll just read out the quote. I'm in the same boat a lot of people are. I see singers around my age and we talk about it. The difference could be many bands have a singer where you go, well, he sounds really good, but so does the keyboard player singing along with him, or the person singing off stage. KISS have never done that. I understand there's people who tend to spout negativity on the KissFAQ, that's cesspool, but they're in the vast minority. I will do everything in my power, and I know that I will sound great on this tour. That is not delusional. I don't look... pardon me. I don't look the same as I did at the beginning of the band. Nobody looks the same today as they did decades ago, but it's all about degree. There are realities, of course. Okay, so there's some interesting bits and pieces in there when you decipher a Star Child speak into plain English. And what I kind of get out of that is, yeah, I'm going to lip sync a little bit. I'm going to have some sonic lube, and I'm going to sound great every night.
He's going to... Yeah, of course. That's going to happen every night, and it's not going to be a little bit. I guarantee it's going to be more than a little bit. I think it's going to be quite a lot of lip syncing going on. I think Mr. Singer there is going to have a nice little headset piece like Lonnie has in his ears, listening to a click track for most of the night to make sure that everything lines up perfectly. Because, come on, let's not kid ourselves. He's going to need it to do it that long. And that's
wow.
That's great.
Nice. But yeah, I think that he's gonna need it. And like I said before, as long as the show turns out well, I think that's not a problem. I mean, the thing that bugs me about it is that, he still seems to come up with this, aura of ego behind this still. I mean, nobody looks as good as me, or, and all these other comments that he keeps making on these things. It's just, does he need to say this stuff? I mean, we know that he keeps himself in great shape.
He's Paul Stanley.
Yeah, okay, but come on. I mean, when you make comments like that, then people even more try to hunt down and look for little things to, bring him back down to earth.
Not Kiss fans. Not Kiss fans.
He invented lead singer's disease.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm telling you, if people are gonna make comments about that all the time. If he wouldn't have said anything about it, I think people wouldn't have been as, hard about it. But I don't know. Like I said, I think that it's gonna happen. He's gonna have a lot of backing stuff happening for him. But like I said, I don't care. I mean, as long as it sounds good, then let it happen.
Yeah, I just don't want to see anything else beyond maybe his vocals being piped in. I don't want, the guitar. I don't want the other vocalists, Gene or Tommy or Eric, which I don't think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to pipe any of that. That would be a total. If they did a full lip sync all the way across the board, that would be. I don't know. That would not go over well. Though it may sound great, it just wouldn't be cool. But I can see it for him. Yes, he needs that help because let's face it, it's just the vocals. He just can't sing those songs anymore. The way he used to. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. And the next best thing is piping some of those vocals in for him. And he can sing along with it still, I suppose, with a live mic. It's just a matter, maybe with his mic will be at a lowered register pickup than what's being piped in, which I think that's how they would do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be lip syncing, and that's the big difference between what we're talking about with Milli Vanilli type. The whole show was on tape, every single vocal. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that was the case on the boat. Again, there were certain areas where I am adamantly sure that my eyes saw him off mic and vocals coming through. So I don't doubt that there are some doubled vocals going on. Perhaps he's taped some stuff recently that can be processed in parallel with him singing. I don't believe for a minute that they're going to Milli Vanilli it in, but I do think they have to be able to deliver a consistently sounding stage presentation night after night, because they've booked 3 nights in a row, which there's no way in hell. No way. So I mean, we're going to have to wait and see what exactly does happen. I just think it comes back. Everything that you say comes back and haunts you. You've mocked Motley Crue. You've mocked bands that have required, tricks to get through it. Vince Neil. I mean, he every other tour he sings one line. Now you don't even know what language he's singing, and it might as well be in Finnish. It really, I mean, he's a really bad example of a great. Oh well, he was never a great singer. Of what was once a good rock and roll singer who couldn't sing his way out of a buffet now. But he wouldn't want to, apparently. But
or into one.
All right, let's move on. Mark, you've been going through some quotes, so dig some up for us to talk about before we get to some more of mine.
Okay, well, I mean, the funny thing is that one of the ones that I actually was going to bring up was the one that you brought up, because I found it interesting though that he, in the quote that I was looking at, he was talking about the European leg of the tour, which is really odd because it was on Blabbermouth and it was dated for like the 11th of November. And I thought it was kind of odd that they were talking about already that leg of the tour. And he was quoted there saying, he goes, "I know that I'm going to sound great throughout this whole tour," and which is basically the kind of comment that you were talking about earlier there with him, But I mean, I don't understand though. I was trying to remember what I was going to get with here, but I don't understand why they're already asking him about that part. We haven't even started the tour yet. I mean, what I'm curious to see is that he keeps mentioning about the new stage show. What I want to know is, when are we going to see any example of this new stage? Is there going to be any sort of a commercial going to be shown, maybe to help tickets or something like that, that might show us a glimpse of this new thing? I know that they've been actually, testing it out. I believe they said they were doing it in some arena somewhere, but maybe they Yeah, maybe they could, make a quick. I'm sure they're going to make a commercial at some point.
Make a music video. Imagine that, a music video.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, like something just to show the stage, because I think that one thing that everybody's been kind of, wanting to see is, what does this new stage show look like? Because that's the one thing they keep promising and never really, gave us anything new. So that's one thing I'm kind of curious about is that end of it.
I don't think we'll see anything as far as the stage show until it debuts when Julian sees them in Vancouver. I don't think they're gonna tease us with anything. I think they're waiting for the shock and awe, for lack of better terms, of a new KISS show when they come out with it. Because, I mean, let's be honest, as soon as they do, it's going to be all over YouTube immediately anyway, and the KISS fans are going to see it. So,
and complain.
Well, it goes without saying, it's KISS fans. I don't see them doing anything to tease us with it. I see them making us wait it out till the 31st of January, and then wait for everyone to bitch on the FAQ about it.
Do you remember the Creatures press conference that recently resurfaced? I mean, that had been out for decades, the audio version, but recently all the video kind of snippets showed up on Getty licensing, and everyone strung them together and put them up. That would be a perfect opportunity when you think back to the Creatures era and when they did the I Love It Loud video. And used the stage where they'd been rehearsing and building out the production rehearsals. I think it was in Dallas. I'm not sure. Kurt or Ross would be able to correct me instantaneously on that. But, that would be a very cool opportunity, to do like an internet press conference, full costume on the stage, harken back to that great tour, which, it was a bombastic moment in the band's history, and lit up some pyro and do it, use that to get people interested, because I'm sorry, SiriusXM is not the sonic Viagra that I'm looking for from a band like KISS. It just is not exciting. I want to see fire. I want to see lights. I want to see flames, even if it's only a short commercial or if it's a 5 or 10 minute featurette on KISS Online. I mean, social media, I would have thought that this is like the perfect kind of branding that they can, do a photo shoot in that situation, which they probably are, actually, when you think about them doing a tour book. But they could be selling themselves, because right now it's limp. There is zero excitement about this tour.
Well, that's what they should have. That's what they should have done when they were doing all that press that week. Is that like the Sirius Town Hall shouldn't have been from just some generic location. It should have been in costume on the new stage to showcase it, to make the initial surge of ticket buying that much more, stellar.
Yeah,
it should have been that. It should have been from the stage showing us, these are the new costumes. This is the new stage. This is what we're going out at. Take a look at it, people, right here, and to make people excited about it. Not, I agree. It should have been like that 3 weeks ago. To make people want to go out and buy tickets. Now it's okay. Well, the shows are 2.5 months away. I know tickets haven't been on sale that long, but the initial you sell tickets in two surges, when they first go on sale and then last minute. I mean, what's out there now is basically they're not going to sell tickets between now and then, because there is Christmas and things like that. But your initial surges when they first go on sale and then right the week of the show. So they missed it. They missed a opportunity to really drive ticket sales by maybe showcasing that and get the skeptical KISS fan on board.
Yeah, I mean,
now the guy who didn't buy tickets, well, maybe he's going to look at it. Well, I'm not going to be able to sit where I want to now, because those seats where I wanted to sit anyway are gone. So I'm just not going to go anyway. I don't know. I mean, we don't know skeptical KISS fans. We all know asshole KISS fans out there that might be like that will find an excuse not to go see him and use that as an excuse. They should have put a surge out there, showing the stage, showing what's different, showing how much this tour is going to be better and bigger than the last one. And they didn't.
Yeah, and
or they haven't yet. I mean, it would be so
It could
simple.
happen.
Yeah, do your commercials. Film 4 segments. Film a segment with Eric doing something on the drums, something that's going to be a part of the show, not necessarily a big giveaway, but a tease, something that the eagle-eyed fan may catch a glimpse of, and have that in a 60-second spot. Have Gene film him on his own, do a 60-second spot, of something that he's going to do in the show. Base your commercial around that. Same with Paul. Same with Tommy. And then a 5th one of the whole damn band, and there's 5 commercials, there's over 5 weeks, and there's 5 HD things for our fans to pick apart and to share, because that's where so much of it happens, is through social media sharing. And it just, this whole thing seems so lazy. I mean, it really, right now, with how everything has been announced, I hate to say it, it feels like limping to the finish line.
It is because I mean that's a good point about this whole commercial bit, because one of the things that they've said a few times in these interviews is that they have an all new show, but the one thing that always catches my ears, they say they have new technology that they're using in their show. Now, what is this new technology? That's the thing that's kind of hooking.
Go up to 11.
Yeah, but whatever it is, I want to know what it is, because I'm pretty familiar with equipment and stuff like that, and as far as new technologies, I'm really wondering what they could be talking about that could make this show so drastically different from anything they've ever done before. That's one of those things that could hook in more people to go to the show, if they have something new to offer as far as a concert performance goes. Because, I mean, Sonny Pooney from the podcast Rock City put up a post the other day about ticket sales and how they were going, and he showed charts of the sales, and some places are just really bad. I mean, sure, Madison Square Garden, their home, of course, is selling great, which is, I hope so,
Yeah, same with Vancouver selling great,
yeah,
but all the other ones are dogs.
But yeah, and like the Forum is selling terrible, and some of the other places are selling terribly too. And like Lonnie said, if they would have hyped it up a bit better at the beginning, then a lot of these places might not have been so weak now, and that's the point. Is as soon as you let time go by too quickly, then people are going to start thinking of 100 reasons not to go now, and they're going to say too expensive. This is too much. I wanted to go meet them, but the meet and greet is too expensive. So everybody's going to think of it a reason not to go, right? Until you give them a really strong reason to go now. Like you said, with a really, eye-catching commercial or something like that might turn it around and say, wow, I've never seen that at a KISS show. Now I'm going.
Well, that's what I was going to say anyway, is that they really blew it from the beginning. They got on the most popular TV show to come out on that, America's Got Talent, which goes across, I don't know how many millions, just tons, millions of people. I don't know, it's 18 million. I don't know what it is, but it's a lot. And they missed that the next day to put the tickets on
nothing
sale
for weeks.
So those casual people that say, it's in their mind still. It's fresh. It's like, oh, you know what? I never seen them. I think I'll go, maybe check them out since this is going to be the last tour. But what, they waited, 2 more weeks or more, maybe a month before releasing the tickets. I mean, so you probably lost a lot of ticket sales right then and there, a whole bunch. Point. Now the other thing is with them still being able to do it, they may have to do it if the tickets aren't selling quite enough. They may have to do some kind of commercial or something showing this is the stagehands. They're showing them putting the stage together and then testing the lasers, testing the the fire and all that stuff. Just kind of say, this is the new whatever stage, and it's going to blow away all our other stages and so on, and prove it. Prove it.
Or tease about it. Don't prove it.
Tease it enough about it. Show some of the prior stages. Here are some of the prior stages we had. The 77 Alive 2 stage, the Creature of the Night, and then the Sphinx, the Statue of Liberty. And then next is going to be this big thing that's going to be just put those to shame. Just do something, tease something and create some more interest. But they kind of, like you said, Julian, it was kind of lazy. They did one, and then there was like nothing for a long time. Then they finally one day they done everything all at once, and then it's I don't know.
Sorry, I'm totally overspeaking you there. I apologize.
No, it's okay.
But what I'm thinking is, it's definitely a case that they've stayed at the party too long. I think very few will disagree with that now, hindsight being 2020. When you stay at the party too long, you either have to get arrested or shit on the carpet. So they need to do something outrageous to kind of get out of that situation. I wouldn't be surprised if we now end up like a Motley Crue situation, all bad things. They threw together a song.
Something. And that's the difference too. You're talking about the "I Love It Loud"
Have
video.
Gene sing it.
Have Gene sing it.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
But you're talking about the "I Love It Loud" video. Will they showcase the new stage in the "I Love It Loud" video? Well, that's the difference. There is no new album. There is no new music to kind of push this tour and to get people excited about it. It's not present. It's not there.
That's a big mistake.
No one's going to get excited about it.
The solo album thing is cool. The rock and roll everything is cool. But there's no new music. There's nothing to get the casual KISS fan excited. The rock and roll everything, the solo album thing, that gets the four of us excited. It gets the people who watch this show excited. But the average KISS fan isn't listening to the KissFAQ podcast every week. The average fan is, I know it's shocking. I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. But the average fan is listening to the KISS podcast every week. The average fan might have Alive, might have Destroyer. Sorry, Mark. Might have a couple albums. Might not have any albums. But you have to do something to get the average fan excited, and they're not doing that. There's no music. There's re-releases of more classic albums, and while they're cool, the Destroyer thing was cool last year. The solo album thing is cool. The rock and roll everything is cool, but the average KISS fan isn't dying to go spend a couple $100 on a solo album box set from 40-year-old music. They're not.
And a compilation isn't going to do it either, unless it's got a new song on it.
Unless it has a new song on it.
Which would probably be the best case. I mean, I think there should definitely be an end-of-the-road tie-in release from Universal, but I really think at this point it's got to have a new song on it. Just something. Come on, Gene. How long would it take you to put some of your lyrics in a blender and come up with something sappy about the end of the road? I mean, that is just Gene Simmons' name is on that. The end of the road, a horrible cliche. Write a song about it with your... My backbone slipped at the end of the road.
Right. My backbone slipped and I fell on the road.
So, Julian, to your point about the... what was it? I just forgot it now.
I was just shocked that you thought I had a point. Thanks.
No, the point about they were, they didn't go out when they should have. They stayed at the party too long.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that other quote that they say too with Paul and Gene is like, we're going out at the top of our game. I mean,
you said that 19 years ago.
You can tell that to the casual fan, but come on, let's be serious here. Go out while we're on top. I'm like, no, you're not on top. I mean, we still and all that, but let's be realistic. You got to go way back to be at the top of your game. As maybe it was even back as far as if you're talking about the original four. Maybe Reunion, and I don't even think that's the top of the game. I think it was the late 70s. And 76, 77 was probably the top of their game.
The last time
really,
KISS sounded
seriously.
real great. The last time KISS sounded real good was 04, around that.
I mean, but 92 was a great top of their game. That was a totally different
game there.
Yeah, 04 was probably the last time the band was a powerhouse in terms of being tight, being musically dynamic and adventurous. And, Tommy was new still, very new at that point, but they were playing around with all sorts of gems from the catalog and really mixing it up a lot more. And then, of course, I think we all concur that Paul's voice issues really start in about 2006 when he's carrying his whole Live to Win tour on his shoulders on his own without having anyone else there to sing a song during the set. And he was doing some very dynamic performances really stretching himself. So, 2008, I think for KISS, Alive 35 is where the cutoff kind of really happens. But 2004 was certainly this lineup's finest moment.
Yeah, that's right.
For sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, eight is if you could really tell the difference that there was a problem.
Yeah, I mean, and then again, when you were talking about different quotes here, this is the one that's been really bothering me, and we kind of touched upon this a little bit earlier, was he goes, I don't think there's any reason to record at this point. You're up against your past. Your past is much larger and more potent than the quality of your songs. He goes, it's about songs that had a moment in somebody's life that's where the power comes. It's a photograph, a certain moment for somebody, whether us or the Stones or any classic band. When people say, why don't you do a new album? They have no intention of wanting to hear it. They may tolerate a new song or two, but don't kid yourselves. When the Stones put out a new album, someone will say, that's terrific, now play Brown Sugar. But you know what? At least though the bands like Stones and some of these other bands do put out new music. I mean, sure, that might be true that most of the people want to hear their classics, but a lot of the times people are going to these concerts because radio stations are pushing a new record that comes out, pushing a single that comes out, and these people who are not diehard fans will be aware of new music by these bands, and so they become interested in it, and then maybe they'll go and see these bands. And that's why you make music. And if there's one thing I'll always agree about with Nikki Sixx, which I don't agree a lot with him, but that if you're an artist, a true artist, then you make music regardless. Forget about the money, forget about this and that. If you like making songs, then you go ahead and do it. Then that's the problem with these guys. I just don't think they don't have that fire to make music anymore. I don't think it's these reasons that he's bolstering off here in these interviews here. I think it goes much further than that. I really think they should put even just one song out. Come on, give somebody something new to listen to, give something radio to, put out or
not
something.
even that. It has nothing to do with giving someone something to listen to. It gets someone's attention. Here's a new KISS song. Mm-hmm. That's an attention grabber. That is all it is, because no one gives a fuck about it. As you've just said, as Paul believes, that because they want to hear Strutter or Deuce, if no one cares about it, it at least gets their attention and gets KISS mentioned in the same sentence, where it keeps the focus on doing the tour. Gene Simmons, like we've said, could knock out, Are You Ready? Are you ready for the end of the road?
Right.
Come on. I mean, KISS could go in and say, this is the best song on Gene's Vault. We're going to go in and, cut that, put some Paul background vocals on it. Eric and Tommy are already on it, for God's sakes. And at the end of it, say, also available on the Gene Simmons Vault. Go to genesimmonsvault.com.
Done.
And I'm sure he's got other songs like that, which could easily be a quick and dirty anthem to grab attention, to cross merchandise, just again, get someone talking. Here's our music video on the new stage of the one song that's going to be on our End of the Road compilation coming in January on Universal, with songs picked by all four of us. All four of us are going to pick 5 songs, each from the KISS catalog for the End of the Road. They're going to be part of the set, if it's going to be 20 to 25 songs, all 25 songs are on the compilation plus that new song. Boom. It gets attention. KISS fans will buy 3 different copies of it because I'm sure they can knock out a vinyl double release.
Oh, yeah.
So
different cover on WoW.
And it is not.
Colors.
I'm sorry. It is not that difficult to go into the Nook or Conway or any of those studios that they've used in recent years, or even in Gene's home or in their own studios or whatever, Pro Tools, to do a song. Have all 4 of them write a verse, whatever. Just anything to get people talking again, because it's lacking. What are we talking about? What are we seeing about the End of the Road? We've already talked about, we haven't seen anything about the stage. We've heard a few very veiled references that we've heard so many times over the years. The KISS logo used to grow and grow and grow. How about that video shot if they're bringing back the real KISS logo instead of the goddamn video abomination of a camera coming flying down the S, something where you can see the metal, see the texture, see the wires, see the lights, anything. We've talked about dozens of permutations of the kind of ways that they could tease about the stage without giving it away. But the moment they go to Vancouver, there are going to be those people. I am not going to be one of them, by the way, holding up a phone, Facebook Living, because I don't frickin' do that, and I'm certainly not going to do that. My phone is going to stay in my pocket, on vibrate, of course. for the show, and I'm just going to be sitting there watching it old school with my fucking eyes, not behind a screen like all you see nowadays. So all the surprise is going to be gone. Why not start teasing? How many weeks are there?
Not many.
So, God, that was a bit ranty, wasn't it?
Not on this show.
No.
Ranty or Randy?
No.
Speaking of Randy. No!
British people don't say that. Hi, I'm Randy. You'll get punched.
Wow.
All right, well, let's see. Daily Mail. Talking of England and Brits, Daily Mail, Paul Stanley again. I'm 66. People half my age probably wish they're in the same shape. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Paul, you win. You totally win. You look great for your age. So, good for you. Rock and Roll Garage. Paul is hopeful that former KISS members guest on the end of the road, but at the same time it would be crazy of us to be so short-sighted to not want to involve other members in the band, so hopefully there will be appearances by other people who've been in this band, mainly Bruce, I would really think, Ace if he gets his copyrights back.
That's it.
So
I'm
really curious about
Canadian Winters has hit us.
What are you so curious about?
It's getting cold there.
We gotta wait for his wires to warm up again. He's Mark, you're frozen.
Did it stop?
Oh yeah, you're back.
Yes,
there you
stop.
go. Try again.
Okay. No, I was gonna say I'm really curious to see what happens with this whole Ace thing, because Paul kind of left the door a little open for him to come back, but all the comments that he's been making have been pretty odd. Like this. I'm not gonna do it unless I get my seat back and all this stuff. Like he seems to be putting out a lot of demands to be involved in this.
Yeah, is Ace negotiating himself out, or is this their idea of drama and tease? Ace, you say these things, go wild, say what you want. It'll have people talking about us, because right now it's not working. It's really just looks like kind of sad and pathetic, more from Ace, begging for a scrap from Master's table, but also unrealistically, they're not. If they own the copyrights, they're big money as part of the KISS company, and Ace, well, what's his net value to them? 0, because they've done just fine and dandy with Tommy. So,
yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this. It said that we're going to include former members and include them how and include them when or where. It's going to be either a crapshoot where if you're lucky to be at that one show that Ace shows up or Bruce shows up or whatever, or is it going to be, well, they work something out where they can get them at every show, which I don't think is going to happen. Unfortunately, I'd love that to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. I hope they prove me wrong. And what if they don't do it? Have them at any show except maybe Madison Square Garden. I don't know. It remains to be seen. I mean, especially at the first show that Julian's so lucky to go to. He can report it back to us,
or conversely, that first show, which Julian's so unlucky to go to. I mean, it can swing either way.
Well,
it could be like Dodger Stadium on the Psycho Circus tour, which had the circus, which had Smashing Pumpkins opening. Had what was it? Nothing to Lose, She, and I think another song that didn't ultimately become part of the main Psycho Circus tour set, or it could be. Everything doesn't. It could be like that fucking spider that never worked.
Technology.
They've got this great new set or stage show, and half of it doesn't work, and we're sitting there looking at basically bare asses and wall for much of the show because the show's malfunctioning. So I mean, it could be either way. I'm pretty sure the crew is really hot and professional, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure it's perfect in this day and age. That doesn't happen. But again, it's untested, it's untried, it's, it could be really, really, really bad, but I think it's going to be awesome. But there you go. I'm an optimist.
Hope so.
What about who's going to open? I heard a couple rumors today. Do you guys have any thoughts on who might be opening act, or do you think they might announce an opening act soon to try to spark an increase in ticket sales?
Are you talking about that John 5?
Yeah,
keys?
That'd be cool. I love Zombie. That'd be fun.
The only thing I've ever heard, and I don't put any weight behind this, is that somebody kept mentioning something about Ghost, but I don't think that they would be a good band to open.
Terrible combination. Ghost.
Yeah.
Ghost is on a parallel track and would just be too distracting. They'd be awesome. I would love to see them again, but it would not go well as an opening act, especially as they're kind of teetering on the brink of moving up to that kind of level themselves. So, John 5 and Zombie, I don't know. I have never gotten into Zombie, so maybe I would enjoy it. I would just still love to see Ace opening so that we get some of the songs that they're not going to do performed. So maybe Ace opening for John, or for Rob, excuse me, opening for Kiss. Maybe it needs to be a triple package. But Zombie, I mean, isn't he too big on his own?
I think he's too big on his own.
Is he?
I think so. He played here. He played here with Manson over the summer, and they played the Shed here, and it was sold out. I mean, it was packed. Huh. He was the main act. So I think he's too big.
Maybe they need they need something to sell the tickets.
A co-headlining farewell tour. Now that would be the ultimately embarrassing bring down for Kiss.
I wouldn't look for another run through the States if we had to get a co-headliner to go through the first run through.
And here's another thing that I think is a mistake. I think it was Gene mentioned that this could go on for more than 3 years. I think at this point they shouldn't be saying anything about longevity and stretching it out. They should say this could actually be less than 3 years, because you better put a time limit and some urgency on people's thoughts in order to, if you're on the fence and you're saying, well, it might be more than 3 years, then that gives people the opportunity to say, I'll catch them on the next leg of the farewell.
Yeah.
I live in San Francisco. I'm not going to bother going to Sacramento. They'll come to Mountain View or Concord on the next leg. No, make people buy the tickets now. And if you do happen to do a second leg, then get your money up front. Get your money and get out. Get it all fucking sold now.
Yeah, that's
stretching it out the saying we're going to do it more than 3 years. Well, then what makes you think they're not going to come back to Chicago or LA or New York? I mean, there's only so many places you can go in a 3+ year tour. So why put that out there? Because people that are on the fence, like you said, people that are on the fence about going to New York or Chicago or a major city like that, if they're going to tour more than 3 years, they're coming back again to Chicago. I don't need to go to this show right now in the middle of winter. I'll catch them when they play the Shed over the summer next year or whatever.
Yeah, those are all great points. I mean, that's one of the things I used to like about Rush, though, is that they used to do that where they would announce one leg of the tour and never even utter a mention of another leg. And then when they would announce it, it was a big surprise. And then people, because they didn't do that, everybody just went for the first leg and bought, the ticket that was nearest to them in the city, and that was it. So I think it's a good point. You should just not go so far, especially longer than 3 years. I mean, wow, that's really being hopeful in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's stretching it out too much in terms of their age. I just don't see the logic in trying to go that far. Here's something else I kind of want to end on as our final topic today, and it kind of ties in with opening acts for the end of the road. Sixthman sent their sent their post-cruise survey out to attendees today, and one of the questions on this was which act previously not on the cruise would you like to see on the bill? And while you guys think about, if you were to go on the cruise, which acts you think would make good additions, I'll give you my two. First up, Peter Criss. After having Ace on this year, I think having Peter on, send Peter and Gigi on a nice cruise. And you can handle it in two ways. Have Peter either come up on stage for some songs at the end of the Sail Away show, acoustically, do Hard Luck Woman with him, do Beth with him, do Nothing to Lose with him, and Rock and Roll All Night, very similar to what you did in 1995, to get closure that way, just like Ace had a reunion with KISS on stage. And maybe, if Peter is willing, have him do a theater show during the tour. And I've sung the praises of the Cutting Room performance so many times that I don't doubt that he could get Sister's Doll out there with him again to back him, and maybe have them do their own shows on the cruise as well. And that would just be an incredible thing for fans who didn't get to experience it in Melbourne or in New York. And also a nice way for Peter to have control of it himself. He doesn't have to worry about performing with KISS in makeup. He's done the Sail Away show, and then he gets to do his own thing his way on the high seas. And then he gets to just enjoy the cruise and maybe get off at the first stop and hop a plane back to home. So I would love to see Peter on the cruise. I'd like to see him afforded the same respect that has been given to Ace in whatever it took to make that happen this year. Because I think it could be fun. And I think fans who didn't see the Cutting Room, who've only seen YouTube, would really, really get a kick out of seeing him do his thing on stage. Band number 2, Slaughter. I just think that would be so much fun. I love Slaughter. And Mark Slaughter is just so fun, and that band has some great songs, and it's right in the wheelhouse of where a lot of us were in the late 1980s, early 1990s musically. They opened for KISS, of course, on the Hot in the Shade tour.
Hot in the Shade, yeah.
And, did the final run with Eric Carr, and of course they have history with Vin, so they could maybe rehearse up a Invasion song or two to add into their set, just to tie that kind of thing in, since you'll never get Vinnie on the boat. He would never be invited. They wouldn't even invite him on just to have him walk the plank. So Slaughter for me would be the closest way of involving Vinnie Vincent on a KISS cruise. So anyone ready for a stab at a couple of acts? Lonnie, you've been on the cruise before. Who would you like to have seen?
Sitting here thinking, I'd like to see Cinderella.
Someone mentioned Tom Kiefer.
I think Tom Kiefer is one of the most talented musicians I've ever seen live.
He is good.
So I would love to see Cinderella. I mean, I saw Cinderella, and my brother never. I went and saw Poison and Cinderella thing at a package store one year, and Tom sings every song. He plays a guitar solo in every song. Plays the piano. Played the saxophone on one song. I'm like, my God, how talented is that guy? It's just not fair. So. Yeah. Cinderella just immediately comes off as would be perfect on the KISS cruise, and I agree with Julian wholeheartedly that Peter deserves his due. That if Ace gets his one, even if Ace doesn't come on KISS Cruise 9 or whatever, or Ace never plays with KISS on the end of the road tour, he did get to get up on stage with them one more time on the KISS cruise, and have a reunion of sorts. So I think Peter definitely deserves that for his contributions to the band, that he deserves, one more time getting up on stage with them and getting a proper send-off. And if he wants to do a theater show like that, more power to him. I think that'd be great too. But I think Peter Criss definitely is deserving. Everybody else, I mean, Bruce has been on there, Ace has been on there, and he said, I don't see Vinnie ever getting near the ship without a cease and desist letter coming his way. But I think Peter definitely deserves that opportunity.
Yeah, just imagine Peter had 2 nights in the same venue, and they could actually film this. And I don't know whatever happened to all the stuff that they filmed from the other shows, but I would have thought that it would be the perfect location for him to, maybe get that video done. Lonnie, who were some of the opening acts that were on the cruise that you attended?
Skid Row was there, and they were great. And it's not Sebastian, but they were fun. I'll say that they were fun because they played the hits off of, the original album and off of Slave to Grind. They played the hits, so it was fun. It was more like a Skid Row cover band without Sebastian, but it was still fun. Who else was there? Adler's Appetite was there, and that was fun. And again, that was fun too, because he had an album coming out at the time, but they did play like Mr. Brownstone and they played Sweet Child of Mine and stuff like that. So that was cool. He was very accessible. Like you could walk up to him. He was just out roaming around the boat most of the time.
He's freaking hilarious. He's on a different level of consciousness, that dude.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So those were two big acts. I think Vintage Trouble that I think was on with the cruise you just saw, Julian. I think they were there too. And then a few other minor acts. But those were the big draw, the big names anyway, were Skid Row and Adler's Appetite with Steven Adler.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Okay, Mark, what sort of acts, if you were to go on the cruise, or if not, for your fellow KISS fans, who should it be?
Well, if I went, I'm kind of taking my bands from a different approach. Not necessarily. Not anybody that's directly related to KISS, like a Peter Criss, but I'm thinking more somebody like a musician. A musician who actually loves KISS a lot. And the one guy that comes to mind right away is Mike Portnoy. And one band that I think that would be awesome if they brought it, and it'd be totally different because it would be something a little bit more up my alley, I guess you could say, is bring Sons of Apollo on there. I think that'd be an amazing band to bring onto a cruise. I mean, you have Portnoy, Billy Sheehan, Ron Thal, Bumblefoot there, and like it's an amazing band. Derek Sherinian on keyboard. That it would be, and they love KISS. Like Derek Sherinian's like one of the biggest KISS fans like of all time that I've ever known. Right? And he loves that. I mean, he played keys for them, right? He was their keyboard player one tour.
Revenge Tour.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has a connection with KISS. There you go, right? So I think that would be a good band. And another band that I'm really into that's more of a rock style that could fit in is Black Country Communion. I think they're a really good band, and I've always loved them. I like their style of rock, and they got, John Bonham's son there, they got Glenn Hughes and you got John Bonamassa. I mean, I think they're good. Joe Bonamassa, sorry. And I don't know, I liked them. And again, they got Sherinian on keyboards on that band. So, it may not be up your alley, but I mean, I dig them, and I think that they would offer something a little bit different too. I mean, one of the things I've started to notice with their cruises is that there's starting to be a lot of repeats going on the cruise. Like how many times has Vintage Trouble played on the cruises? You don't want to get too many repeat performances, right?
And the Dead Daisies, the last two. And by the way, I did just buy the whole Dead Daisies catalog on the strength of seeing them twice on this cruise.
Pretty good.
So yeah, except the first album. Once you get crabby, then it becomes a whole different ball of wax. That band, great vocalist. Fucking love John. I can't believe I didn't follow this stuff over the past few years. Yeah, so it has had a good effect in terms of music on again, some of these opening acts. Lucifer was great on this. Most recent Beth Blade, fantastic. I didn't see Vintage Trouble, so
you didn't miss one.
No, and I walked by Tease, and I kept walking.
Yeah, I heard that was really bad too.
Yeah, as Tommy was mentioning them on Three Sides.
Yeah.
Calling them basically a glorified bar band who had no... I don't know if you remember. If he said they didn't have any right being on the cruise, but yeah.
He was critical of them. It sounds like deserving this stuff.
I kept walking. All right, Ken. Thanks for returning. Who would be the two acts
Sorry to bother you.
that you would kind of like to see on the cruise?
Well, I agree with you about Peter Criss. I mean, I think that'd be fantastic. I mean, especially if he can finally maybe put out his, rock album around the same time. Maybe if he does put that rock record out, he can add as a bonus DVD, maybe that show that you saw at the cutting room, something like that would be a cool package that I think he should do, really. I mean,
yeah, and he could be selling.
I know he's not listening, but
he could be selling signed snare drums for $2,500. Actually, that's what Eric charges, I think. So he could at least get $3,000 or $3,500 for a signed Peter Criss snare and drum heads, and do the private meet and greets like KISS does, and make bank. Come on, Peter. Yeah. Captive audience.
Lots of money to be made there for him. So that'd be one. Definitely, that's a definite. Otherwise, I don't know. I know I don't know if Cheap Trick is too big to go on there, or
they'd be too damn fun.
Yeah, I know. Or or
Too much
something else.
fun.
Or how they have the Beatles tribute. Why'd they put in, instead of the Beatles tribute, maybe this time do like a Led Zeppelin tribute or one of these other bands,
Rolling Stones
influence.
tribute.
Oh, that would be awesome. Is there one? There probably is one somewhere.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few of them.
Something like that. One of their influences, another influence that would be cool. Yeah, Rolling Stones would be a good one too. But yeah, Peter Criss for sure.
Yeah, especially if it was a Rolling Stones tribute band that stuck to 67 to 72. Yes.
Yeah,
There you go.
that would be.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess mine.
All right, so that's it. That's a whole bunch of ideas. That's a whole bunch of topics. That's the usual sort of show. All right. So let us know your thoughts on everything that we've talked about today, because I'm not going to go back through the list and remind you. So sometimes we just don't.
If you made it this far through the show, congratulations.
Holy shit. Gone over an hour. There you go. All right, so that's it for the KissFAQ podcast this week. As always, thank you for listening. We do appreciate you giving us your ears, your time, and watching and listening to us wherever you do. Do chime in on what we've talked about. Agree with us, disagree with us. Give us what you think should be the answers to some of the questions that we've spoken about. And if not, we'll see you next time. So thanks for watching. Bye now. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.